Recently I shared some photos and videos of this bracelet, and so many of you asked me how to make this toggle clasp and whether I had a tutorial for it on my channel. Well, I didn't. So let's fix that together today. I've got a bracelet here that doesn't have a clasp yet, so let's make one from scratch. And I will walk you through every step in detail. If you have one, grab your beading mat, it will keep your beads from rolling all over the table while you work. So handy. Next, I'm getting my beads ready. I'm using TOHO Round size 15 no-seed beads for this project. And I'm also using Miyuki Delicas in 2 different colors to add a bit of contrast and detail to the design. I will also need some 3mm bicones or firepolished beads, either works great for this clasp design. And also 2 pieces of 4mm firepolished beads or bicones, what do you prefer? Or what do you have? Next, grab your beading needle. This is size 12. This one's a bit short, so I'm going to prepare another longer needle. But if you're using a medium long needle, 1 needle will be enough for the whole project. Then I've got my go-to thread Fireline Crystal, 0.12mm thickness. It's absolutely perfect for this project, strong, smooth and nearly invisible in the final piece. And of course we can't forget a good pair of scissors, essential for any beading project. Okay, so I cut a piece of Fireline, about 1 meter will be enough. I thread my needle. First I pick up a stub bead. I'm going to use, for example, this 3mm fire polish bead. But it doesn't really matter which bead you use, or if you have, you can use this spring stopper. Depends what you prefer. And I leave the tail long enough to weave it in later. And I go with my needle through the stub bead like this to secure it in place. Just like this. And then I pick up 40 of these 15 seed beads. 1, 2, 3, 4. I slide the beads down to my stub bead. Here's what it looks like with 40 beads thread on. This will be the base for our clasp. And I take it like this and I connect it to a circle. Now I'm going to add a second row using size 15 seed beads, stitching in classic peyote stitch. Let's build up. So I pick up 1 seed bead, skip the adjacent seed bead, and go with your needle through the next seed bead, like this. And continue all the way around. Pick up another seed bead, skip the next one, and go with your needle through the seed bead. I recommend not pulling your thread too tight here. We want this piece to stay relatively flat, because later on we will need to fold or roll it inward. If it's too tight, the structure won't bend properly and it will be much harder to work with. So keep your tension a bit looser than usual. It will make the next step so much easier. I can remove my stub bead. Alright, so here you can see I'm down to the last bead in a row, and now it's time to step up to the next round to continue the peyote stitch. So I pick up the last bead in a row, skip the adjacent bead, and go through the next one, and at the same time step up. That means go through these beads that sticks out, like this. And the second row of beads is finished. You can see it lies nicely flat. Now I'm going to start adding Miyuki Delica bead size 11 for the next section. I will add 3 rows on the outer edge, and then I will move back to the inner part to add 2 more rows there. This will start shaping the clasp beautifully. And then I will bend it and sew it together in a zigzag way. I will show you that in a while. So I pick up 11 Delica bead and continue with the classic peyote stitch. So I skip the next bead and go with my needle through the next bead that sticks out. And continue the same way all the way around. Don't pull it too tight, keep it quite loose. And the last bead in a row and step up again. This is first row with Miyuki Delicas, and add 2 more rows with Miyuki Delicas, so 3 rows a total in the outer side. So I start with the second row with Miyuki Delicas. And the last bit in the second row, and step up. 2 rows with Delicas are finished, and the last outer row with Delicas. So this is what it looks like now that I finished the third outer row using Miyuki Delica size 11.0. And now it's time to move to the inner side and continue building up the shape there. So I move the needle to the inner side, just go through a couple of beads. Okay. And continue with peyote stitch in the inner side. And I will not be making 3 rows, 1, 2, 3, but only 2 rows. But the principle stays the same. Here's how it looks after stitching 1 inner row, and now I'm going to add 1 more to finish off the inner section. So continue with a classic peyote stitch. And the last bead and step up. And now we will bring both sides together and just squeeze it a little bit like this. And you will see they fit like a zipper. For example, this bead on the right sticks out and fits perfectly into the little gap on the left. I don't know if you see it properly. This bead sticks out and there's a gap. This bead sticks out and there's a gap. We are going to use that to our advantage and stitch the two sides together bead by bead so everything locks into place neatly. So I go with my needle to the right through the bead that sticks out and go to the left to the next bead that sticks out. And just like this, I lock the beads in the center in the correct position. And again, from right to left, like this. Go with your needle through the beads that sticks out. And you will form a nice circle. So I'll continue with the rest of the beads. And now I've got everything stitched into a circle. It's all connected and forms a little ring shape. And let's take a moment to identify the center beads together. You will notice we have 3 beads here, 1, 2, 3, then 2, 1, 2, then again 3, 1, 2, 3, and then 2, 1, 2. So 3, 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, and so on. The center beads are these ones right here, the ones that repeat consistently in the middle of each set. So it's 1, 2, 3, so it's this middle bead. It's right in the center. These are the key ones we will work with next. So I go with my needle through the next center bead, like this. I pick up another 11 Miyuki Delica bead and go through the next center bead, like this. And again, I pick up another Miyuki Delica and go through the next center bead. And continue like this all the way around. Go with your needle only through your center beads. And the last bead, and step up, so go through this white bead again. And pull tight. This is how it looks. You can weave the tail in if you want. And now we'll start adding 3mm firepolished beads. So I pick up one 3mm bead and go to the next white bead that sticks out. Now I pick up one Delica bead and go through the next bead that sticks out, and one 3mm, and I will keep alternating these two types of beads. So one Delica and one 3mm. And here's what it looks like with one part of the clasp finished. And now I weave in one of the threads to secure it, and I will leave the other thread for later when I attach the clasp to the bracelet. So I just go with my needle through a couple of beads and change direction several times, so I secure the thread in place. There's no need to make knots. It will hold it just like that. Just go through a couple of beads and possibly make some circles around the beads, and it will be super secure. So now I can cut off the excess thread, and I will keep the other tail. Alright, let's go ahead and make the second part of the clasp together step by step. Cut a piece of Fireline, again about 90 centimeters, 1 meter is enough. I thread my needle and I put on a step bead again. Now I'll be working only with Miyuki Delica's size 11 in 2 colors, and I will finish off the edges with 4mm bicones for a touch of sparkle. Okay, so I pick up 16 Delicas. I slide them down to my step bead, and I'll be stitching classic peyote stitch. So I pick up one bead, skip the first bead, and go with my needle through the second bead. Pick up another bead, Skip the very next bead and go with your needle through the next bead. And continue like this to the end of the row. So skip the very next bead and go with your needle through this bead. It's just a classic peyote stitch. And the last bead in a row. Okay, now I flip it and start over again from bottom to top. So here I've stitched 2 full rows of peyote stitch. Up here you can see I've got 2 beads, 1 and 2, and down here there's just 1. My goal is to keep going until I have 5 beads on both the top and the bottom. Okay, so I pick up another bead and continue with peyote stitch. So I skip the very next bead and go with my needle through the bead that sticks out, like this. And this time you can pull tight. And continue like this until you have 5 beads on each side. As you can see, I've now got 5 beads on each side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that means I've reached the right width. I can remove the step bead. And now I fold the beadwork like this and zip it up. So I go with my needle through the opposite bead and zip it up like this. Just go with your needle through the beads that sticks out. Now I want to also connect these 2 beads, so I go with my needle like this and back. Okay, it's nice and clean. Now I want to highlight the edge a bit using a different color. I will start by passing the needle under this thread here. I pick up the light bead and go under the thread again and lock the bead in position. So go with my needle from bottom up through the bead hole like this. Again the same in the next hole. I pick up the white bead and go with my needle under the next thread bridge and go up through the bead like this, and it will sit in place nicely. Continue with the next bead, so go with your needle under the next thread bridge and go through the bead up And now I'll connect the last and the first bead like this. I have 5 white beads in here. Now I do exactly the same on the other side. So I go with my needle just through the whole piece. Go with my needle under the thread bridge and sew another bead. Pick up another bead and go with my needle under the thread bridge and up through the bead. So this is how it looks. Now I switch to a longer needle. Okay, so I go with my needle through the whole beadwork. So I get my thread to the center like this. I pick up 1/4 mm bicone and slide it down to the center. Pick up another Miyuki Delica and go with my needle back through the 4mm and through the whole beadwork like this. Pull tight and do exactly the same on the other side. So I pick up another 4mm bicone, slide it down, pick up Delica and go through the bicone and go with my needle all the way to the other side. I will just reinforce the connection several times. So I go with my needle back and forth to secure it in place. And that's it, and now I can weave the thread in. Now I can weave in the thread tails. I usually just secure the shorter one and I leave the longer one so I can use it later to continue working on the beadwork to connect it together. And here we have what looks like a finished clasp, but to keep it from being too much at once, I will show you how to attach it to the beaded bracelet in the next video. I will walk you through a method where I extend the peyote stitch like this. So that's it for today's part. The clasp is ready, and in the next video I will show you exactly how to attach it to your bracelet using a smooth peyote extension. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss what's coming next. See you soon!